All right, so I'm going to talk about the formation of the brain in utero in a developing baby. In the first 4 weeks, a lot's going on. Our cells are starting to differentiate, and around week 3 they form something called the neural plate. Um, and that folds in on itself, right? So, and then it creates a tube, and in that tube is what eventually becomes our spinal cord as well as our brain. Okay, so you can see this starting to develop in the baby with functional MRIs and fetal MRIs in the third, fourth week. At that point, the neural tube continues to grow into what essentially becomes your brain, right? You have your forebrain, your midbrain, and your hindbrain. Your forebrain is, if you were to imagine what a brain looks like with all of the grooves and ridges and valleys called gyri and sulci, that's your forebrain. And that's your cerebral cortex, which is where a lot of the complex behaviors come from. That's where a lot of processing happens, sensory processing, right? And then in your midbrain, which is just a little bit lower down, you have it's like the integration center where all these neurons are communicating with each other, right? Neurons communicate with dendrites and axons. The dendrites receive the signals, and the axons send the signals. At the end of an axon, there's a neurotransmitter that gets released, and that allows ion movement in the next neuron and the dendrites of the next neuron, which causes an action potential, and that's how that electric signal is sent through your body, whether you're receiving information or sending information down your spinal cord into the rest of your body. So around weeks 4 to 8, right, all those structures I was just talking about, especially the forebrain, begins to really, really grow rapidly. This rapid growth, the cerebral cortex takes over, and then that's pretty much what you can see if you were to be looking at a brain, is the cerebral cortex or the forebrain. Let's see. Around this growth really continues for like up to into like the 25th, 26th week. Right around 28 weeks, that's when all of those ridges that I was talking about earlier, that's when they actually start to form, and then you can actually recognize them if you were to look at a brain in utero using the MRI techniques. So also, back talking about all of this rapid brain growth and neuron development, that actually continues into like all the way to your kid's like 12 months old. At that point, something called pruning starts to happen, where the connections between those axons, dendrites that aren't being used, your body starts to get rid of them. And if they are being used, then your body reinforces those connections. And that's why learning right from infancy and trying to stimulate the brain is so important for brain health for the rest of your life, I believe. And that's all I got to say about the developing brain.